another edition of VAFA Tragic. It's great to be back on the show as we welcome the rest of the panel. It's a very good evening to Nick.
Andrew, great to
Armistead,
be here.
sorry, I should have said your surname. Nick Armistead, how are you?
That's all right. I'm very well.
Well
How are
done
you?
last week on hosting, by the way.
Thank you. It's great to
Not
have you
quite
back,
the short
though.
and sharp show that you were hoping for. 22 minutes I think it went to, when we've been averaging about 17 or 18.
Yes, we did.
There's only three of you.
We did go on a little bit. We had too much expertise on the panel, I reckon.
Yeah.
Very good. And ratings dived a bit last week, I saw as well. So hopefully you're back on board this week. William Baum, another outrageous jump at the anti-penultimate time you're on the show.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed, Andrew. We all know what the word means now. It's the third last time, but excited to be here.
And Brenton Mann, good to see you doing some stuff on Raw Vision. Do your fans on Raw Vision tune into the Tragics each week?
I think I might have to give a plug to the VAFA Tragic on Raw Vision. You know, my horde of fans will surely bump up the numbers a bit. But I'm looking forward to the other two jumpers you're going to wear in the next two shows after this one, because that one is an absolute ripper. Straight out of Don Burke's wardrobe, that one.
I'm looking for donations, actually. So.
Don Burke, there's a name from the past. On to William Buck Premier. Let's get into the footy. Round 7's been run and won. Starting off at Toorak Park, where Old Zavs lost their third game in a row, going down to University Blues by 10 points. The Blues and Zavs. Blacks are on the run too, but Blues and Zavs, they were level at three-quarter time. But it was the younger players for Blues in Cunningham and Maloney that were pretty solid throughout. And it's always important, gents, to have your younger guys come through and help you win a game at times throughout the season, and not just relying on the more experienced players like Mugovan, Rippon, etc. So it was good to see Cunningham and Maloney doing pretty well for the Blues.
As well as Tom Quinn.
Yeah, Tom Quinn bobbed up with 3 goals. A good state player, Tom Quinn. So he's an experienced player, but he's a good player also. Zaz without heaps of numbers, and some worrying signs for them. Losing 2 games at Toorak Park and 3 in a row is unusual for Zaz.
Yeah, they wouldn't be absolutely stoked with that. They are 3 and 4, as you said. They are still missing though their captain. They are still missing their 2 vice captains. So Dan Noonan is out. John Shaw's out, and I'm missing the other vice captain. Ben Kennedy is still out. So it's really hard when you don't have the entire leadership group out there. It is hard to galvanise the troops. And
some interesting names running around in the 2s for them. Josh Aegis, a former premiership player, Marcus Allen, a former premiership player, Nick Serafini also running around in the 2s at the moment for Zaz. So perhaps some more senior names to come back in future weeks, but they are light on for numbers at the moment, the Zavs.
Yeah, well, hopefully those boys can come back, because they do need that experience, especially when they're losing 2 in a row to Toorak Park.
The game of the round, though, probably at TH King. St Kevin's coming from behind to beat Old Trinity. Nick, you saw this one live. It would have been a thrilling game to watch.
It was an unbelievable game to watch, and St Kevin's have really stamped their authority on the William Buck Premier section for the first time probably this year. They did have a big win, 113 points against Old Kerry last week, but it was this win against the undefeated Old Trinity which have really put them in the race. It was a big start for Old Trinity. They kicked the first 8 goals of the game. So it was 51-2 at quarter time. There were a few choice words by the coach, John Edgar, at quarter time. I was in that huddle. It was lack of bravery was put there. He took that back, but you've got to say you throw those things out there because you want the boys to hear. It doesn't matter whether you take them back. Those boys heard that, and they've come out firing in the next 3 quarters. They really made inroads. They kept in touch until that 4th quarter, and all the big guns stood up. Gillum stood up, Strauss, Bale, Salopek, and that home ground advantage really worked at TH King. There were 22 goals kicked to that one end of the 25 that were kicked, and that really played, and the crowd was, as always, absolutely played a part. They were the 23rd man out there, to be fair. OT were down on the bench 2 till half-time. Jack Hunt actually came off, hurt his shoulder, so hopefully we can find out more about that, because that's a big out. He did still get in the best. Ned Hunt was amongst the best. Luther Jurek was good.
He only played a half of football.
Yeah.
He's just that
Mum
good.
might have been doing the vote.
He was just that good. But it was not all good for Scob, though. Unfortunately, their skipper, Anthony Lynch, probably did something he's not going to be totally stoked with. He's not going to be totally proud with. In the dying minutes, the game was wrapped up. They did have the win on the board, but he's really just hip and shouldered the young man right here and caught him high. I think he was red carded for that. So
interesting one. I don't reckon Old Trinity have just been going. They haven't been dominating like. They've been a great side this year, but they haven't actually really been burying sides. That was a bit the way last year as well. You could probably read into a bit of that, but they were getting the wins that they needed. Maybe they needed to have a bit of a loss, but they probably wouldn't have wanted to lose this way, having led by 49 points and conceding 29 scoring shots to 18 in the end.
Yeah.
6 goals, 7 in the last quarter to 1 behind. Disappointing result for Old Trinity, but I don't think they'd be too phased dropping a game at this stage of the year?
No, they wouldn't be too phased. They'd be stoked with Harry Tinney's return from injury. Kicked 2 goals in the first quarter. He was part of that onslaught in the first quarter. But as you said, 8 goals in the first, they take out of that. And their third quarter Blues, which we actually spoke about last week, they put them away as they kicked 4 goals in the third. So that's something that I know that they were focusing on and something that they did improve, even though they didn't get the 4 points.
Did that come from the VAFA Tragic? Do you think they aim for that because of what we spoke about last week?
It must have something to do with it.
Certainly having a bit of influence, the Tragics. Can't influence Old Kerry to get a win at the moment. They're still winless after they went down to De La Salle by 82 points at the Dunshay Oval at Kerry Sports Complex. Importantly for Old Kerry, they are kicking scores now. I mean, the last couple of weeks in particular, they've managed to get some score on the board, albeit their opposition struggling to prevent them kicking goals at the other end.
Well, they kicked 91, not last week, the week prior, and they got done by 130 odd points. But you're still kicking 91 points, as you say. But it's those defensive, the defensive aspects of their game, they're just trying to tweak at the moment. They're a team in transition. But what I like is they know exactly what their position is. They know where they are. They're not sugarcoating it. They're all on the same page. They're blooding their kids, and they're going to take losses like this, but I think it's going to be better for them in the long run.
Indovino's been a star since he's returned a few weeks ago. Nick, you've pointed out there his return for goals of 3, 3, 4 and 3.
Yeah, he's a very, very important part of the structure, their forward line structure, sorry. He was big last year. He was really big last year, and next to Tommy Nichols up forward, and with their goal-kicking midfielders, he provides pivotal access up forward. So with him back in the form that he's come back in since doing his hamstring, fantastic news for De La.
Blacks beat St Bernards as well. A good win for Blacks, and Cam Roberts has got this team going along nicely now. St Bernards, interestingly, they got their win a couple of weeks ago against Old Kerry, and they're now 2 wins from out the relegation places. They're 2 wins back from being inside the relegation places. Interesting comment there from Mark Riley saying that Blacks were the best team they played during the week, which I thought was during this year so far.
Yeah, that's a huge call from Bomber Riley there. He said they were very impressive. They run well, move the ball well, and they're big and strong, which they know. And they've got Lockie Dornoff, who again starred. So Uni Blacks, Cam Roberts has them playing a fantastic brand of football, and they're not a smoky anymore. They're a scary team.
I'm going to ask you about that in a second. OMs beat Collegians, and they're doing nothing wrong either. Nathan Brown's got the OMs going beautifully. They've managed to beat Collegians at Sports Cover Arena by 20 points, which leaves the ladder Trinity on 24, which we know. You've got 3 teams on 5 wins with De La Salle, OMs and Blues. Blacks just outside, 1 win away. Then you've got the 3 teams, Zavs, Scobs and Collegians. Now, we're all looking at Zavs as being a finalist. They're only 2 wins out of the 4 at this stage, but that's questionable. Scobs are making their run. We said if they're 4-5 at the turn, they might be 5-4 at the turn.
They could be 5-4.
For home, and St Bernards, as we mentioned. So out of that lot, who's making the 4?
Tell you what, Collegians as well, I don't think they're going to make the finals, but I mean, they've looked all right in every one of their games this season. Yeah. So, I mean, they're still in the hunt as well.
Defensively, they're very strong. They're averaging 59 points for, though, and 62 against. So they can hold sides, but they're just struggling to get that score on the board. Mate, I mean, it might not be this year for them, but they're really building that hardened defence down at Collegians.
So who's going to make the 4?
St Kevin's.
Old Trinity
I
and De La.
I think Scobbers will make a big run and jump in. I really do.
So Scobs, we all agree that Scobs are in?
I'm not sure they're in. I'm not sure they're in. I think Blacks take the 4.
So you don't think Scobs make it? So Blacks come into 4. So who drops out from the current 4? Blues, OMs, D-La and Old Trinity.
I think OMs are flying at the moment, but I don't know if we can safely say that they're top. 3 to 8, 3 to 9 is so close at the moment.
Absolutely, but we've got to put our opinions on the line here.
I think Trinity and D-La are lock 1 and 2.
Yes.
I think we go Uni Blues.
Yep.
Okay, that's 3.
And for me, I'm Blacks. I'm the Cam Roberts factor.
So OMs go out, Blacks go in.
Yep.
Okay. And for you, Brenton?
I think Scobbers go out and
replace who?
I think Blues drop out.
Nah, Blues are good. Blues are very strong. St Kevin's come in. We said 4 and 5. If they're 4 and 5, that's a pass mark. And at the minute,
they could be 5. They can be 5 and 4. Though.
Exactly right.
So who's
going out?
So Kevin's make it in for who?
Well, Old Trinity and D-La will come top 2. Uni Blues will be there, and OMs will drop out.
OMs out.
I think it might be Blues that drop out and miss for St Kevin's, but there you have it. That's just our opinion. Who cares what we think? We'll take a break here on the Tragics and back with more in a moment.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. We didn't have any headlines last week, so hopefully Nick Armistead's got a few more. A bulked out VAFA headline segment. Here he is.
I do. Thank you, Andrew. Now, Marshall Rippon from Old University Blues has hyperextended his knee in the third quarter of his side's win against Old Zavarians over the weekend and played no further part in the match. Speaking with Marshall earlier, he will undergo an MRI tomorrow to evaluate the extent of the damage, but remains optimistic he will return within the next 2 weeks. Rippon finished equal fifth in last year's Woodrow medal count and travelled to Ireland for the Big V's tour in October, showcasing his values to the Blues midfield, and the sooner he returns to the fold, the better. The Big V representative squad of 44 will train for the first time this Wednesday at Sports Cover Arena under the guidance of first-time rep coach Stuart Powell. The squad will be cut to 30 and will be released exclusively on the VAFA website next Wednesday. The VAFA Football Operations Department has had a perfect start to the first 7 rounds in the VAFA season, with no forfeits having occurred thus far this season. To put this into perspective, at the same time last year there had already been 24. Football Operations Manager Sam Comfey says clubs have been more active in recruiting and ensuring their teams are sustainable for the entire season, as well as communicating with the VAFA prior to the season commencement. And there has been further proof that the VAFA football community is as strong as ever, with both Paran Assumption's Club 18 side and St John's Old Collegians supporting the White Ribbon Foundation over the weekend. The two Blues raised over $1,000 to support the Foundation's Ending Violence Against Women campaign, including a donation from opposition team West Brunswick, whilst Old Altham did their bit in their match against St John's, donating $220 from their player subs to the cause. Congratulations to all involved, and that spells the end of today's headlines.
Good on you, Nick. 24 forfeits last year. None this time. That is a phenomenal effort. So well done to all the VAFA clubs. On to Premier B. Bo Morris didn't get the 4 points for the first time. Will, you took a look at this game.
Yeah, look, you would have come into this game expecting Bo Morris to come out of it pretty comfortably with a win. Fitzroy were fantastic. I mean, Bo Morris led at every change, 6, 8 and 10 points. But in the last quarter, Fitzroy, a real workman-like, sturdy approach to the game. They were scrappy, but and Bo Morris clearly looked the better side with the ball. However, Fitzroy, they just have a way of really tying down the momentum of another side. I tell you what, they go through where is it? Bisson. Fitzroy go through the man Bisson quite frequently, and they were tenacious, workmanlike. However, Bo Morris had so many opportunities to put the game away. They kicked 12 goals, 22 for the day, and in the end they missed a goal. You'll see it here on the footage. With about a minute left, they missed a goal streaming in, missed it. They lose. They draw in the end. But they should have kicked that goal, and Bo Morris should have won. However, Fitzroy up the other end did have a shot, a free man in the goal square, and there was a shot taken, and again it was missed, hit the post. And unfortunately for Fitzroy and Bo Morris, they both had a chance to get the 4 points. Neither side could do it. Great game of football.
Great result for Fitzroy in terms of their season. They moved to 10 points now, and we're hoping they'll come on, and let's hope they do so. Old Brighton are a team in trouble. They've only had the 2 wins thus far from their 7 games, and Old Scotch beat them by 15 points at Brighton Beach Oval. St Bede's Mentone Tigers defeated Parkdale Vultures in a local derby thriller, and a high-scoring thriller as well, 118 to 117. Monash Blues defeated Ajax by 47 points at the Frierson, and Old Haileybury went down to the Rovers, so a great win for them.
First win for Rovers this year.
For the Rovers to get off the mark in season 2016.
Old Haileybury really disappointed with that.
Would have to be.
No, surely it would be. Yeah.
To lose at Princes Park too they'd be spewing about that.
Because they're a top 4 chance. The way they've been playing to start the year. And they're losing to a team who hasn't got on the board yet. Hampton haven't been getting smashed. They were 28 points from Bo Morris last week. But you wouldn't be stoked with it.
No, you wouldn't be stoked. You're not stoked about any loss, as you said. But they'll push on this week, and we'll push on to Prem C.
You ready to go, Will? Chance to redeem yourself here. Peninsula going down to Old Ivanhoe and Premier C.
That's right. It was a surprising result. Old Ivanhoe have looked pretty good so far this year. So Peninsula. Old Ivanhoe absolutely smashed Peninsula on the weekend. They went through David Bruno, the big ruckman, probably the form player in Premier C. And Matt Ferguson, our forward, kicking 5 goals, was absolutely outstanding. Their pressure against Peninsula, who are a pretty good side, was just fantastic. Hard tackling all day. Their captain, Mitras, was fantastic as well. But yeah, Old Ivanhoe just dominated the whole day. And
wins also to Mazenod, Ormond, Caulfield Maroons and Kew. The Nodders undefeated on top. Kew get their 3rd win of the season over Marsland. The race for relegation in Premier C is really interesting. Old, Camberwell, Marsland, Ormond and Oakley are all on 1 win. And I'm wondering how many wins you'll need. Maybe only 4 wins, 5 wins might save you off this year.
Yeah, I think Allman's win was very important on the weekend. The monkey off the back now, and Old Camberwell is struggling. So at the minute, it's looking like Oakley and Old Camberwell.
Question marks on Marston as well. But
Yes.
you'd think Marston's strength would come through in the end. Time to take a look at the divisions. Brenton Mann, you cover the division football for us. Tell us all about it.
I will, and we'll start in Division 3, where it was... I haven't talked about UHSVU much this year, but they are flying. They've just won 4 in a row with a 4-point win over Aquinas. In the last 4 weeks, they've beaten Aquinas, as I said, Powerhouse, Parkside and Elstonwick. But the big test this week is against Latrobe. It's 4v3, so this is a big test. And your mate Nick Devereaux, he's flying at the moment at UHSVU. And big test, as I said, against Latrobe this week. And then now we'll move on to Division 1, where Pegs, they cracked the attacking juggernaut. Old Mantonians went down by 18 points to Pegs, who are, as well are flying, and they are in the chasing pack in Div 1 with Ferry Penola and St Mary's. They're all on, those 3 sides are on 5 and 2, with Old Mentone on 6 and 1, and that loss may have just... there's a chink in the armour down at Old Mentonians.
That's like Old Tree. It's a loss you need to have.
Loss you need to have, okay.
It's fine.
Okay,
I'm not worried about teams that are 6 and 0 and losing again.
Panthers' lowest score of the year. They won't be impressed about that. And Paran Assumption pushed Ferry Penola as well. Ferry Penola got up by 3 points at John Pascoe Reserve. But unfortunately for Ferry Penola in the second quarter, I believe, Nick, Corey Bannister received a severe concussion. We send our well wishes to Corey and the Bannister family. The game was stopped for 12 minutes in the second quarter, and which isn't great. And at his age, maybe he'll have the compulsory week off, maybe even 2 if it's severe. But at his age, surely he's not career at the crossroads, but maybe second guessing coming back.
From all reports, it was pretty severe what he suffered. I mean, 12 minutes lost is a
that's
large
significant.
It's
chunk of
waiting
time.
for the it's waiting for the ambulance though. It's
But
not
is
12
he-
minutes.
Hopefully it wasn't after
If there was
12
an
minutes.
ambulance there, I'm sure they would have been able
Yeah.
to continue quicker.
But if they're in with a chance, does he come back purely because they're in with a chance?
Big test this week, Theory versus Old Mentonians. But yeah, as you said, I think maybe I think the 2 weeks for him.
Yep.
At his age, 2 weeks, and then maybe he comes back later in the
Have
year.
you guys been concussed playing before?
Never.
I have.
Yeah.
I've been out for 8 minutes.
Have you?
So I'm a big fan of helmets, and I'm a big fan of taking as much time off as you need. And if he doesn't come back, he doesn't come back. But again, grand final is a lure that people
Oh
play
yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah,
Well,
and
really?
they are really flying.
Ever been concussed?
I've never been concussed, but I tell you what, if I ever was, I would quit straight away.
Quit straight away.
I just think concussion, it scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep, never happened to me. Been hit in the head plenty of times, but no one's been able to get me out yet. A few blokes from Q tried a couple of times. we'll move on to Division 2. As Nick said in the headlines, St John's had their annual White Ribbon Day, which is a fantastic initiative to stop domestic violence against women, to stop all violence against women. That's absolutely fantastic for their club, and women such as Chris Swinburne, who was the AFL Victoria Volunteer of the Year. She's the heartbeat of that club. She did a fantastic job on Saturday, and they had a 78-point win over the winless Eltham. And West Brunswick as well in Div 2 are flying. They are sitting second. They had a 73-point win over Richmond Central Snakes. And we'll move down to Division 4. Eli Park Sharks had a 13-point win over Manningham Cobras, and they are flying as well, but they're chasing Westbourne Grammarians, who had a bye this week. And
So still couldn't catch them with the bye.
they're rounding out the division report.
Good on you, Brenton. On to the performance plays of the week. Let's go to Nick for his performance play of the week.
My performance player of the week, I thought I'd get in St John's to stop Brenton for talking about St John's, but somehow he got them in there in the division report anyway. Aaron Thornton kicked 6 on the weekend against Old Eltham and took his season tally to 35 from the 6 games that they've played, including the bye, putting him equal 4th on AFL Victoria's Metro Football goal-kicking leaderboard. So well done to Aaron, and
You got a nickname?
Wombat.
Wombat.
Yeah.
well
I
done
don't know
Wombat.
why, but it's just Wombat. Not sure.
He is dominant in front of goal for
Very
those
good
boys.
player.
Will, your performance plays of the week.
Well, certainly not me tonight, but I'm going to go to Ivanhoe with their 30-point win over Brunswick. The 2 Blackmore Moore brothers just got me giggling today. But they kicked 7
It's an
goals.
absolute giggleathon with the hyphenating Blackmore Moore, isn't it?
Blackmore Moore, yeah. It's not great.
And Ruben and Keke, so great names as well. But they kicked 7 goals between them, and they're on fire down there. And Ivanhoe are playing pretty good footy. So
You pumped up Ivanhoe last week as well.
I did.
Cal Kaldawi.
I did indeed.
Yeah,
but
I like the
it was
host
good.
too. I'm a big fan. Right, Brenton, on you go with the performance player of the week.
Div 4, William Dawson from Point Cook, who kicked 8 on the weekend against Masala, takes his season total to 27. Just ahead of Dale Collins, who had the bye on the weekend. Collins is on 25, but he's my performance play of the week.
And mine is Mr. and Mrs. Salapak. Congratulations, Jason and Stephen, doing great things at St Kevin's. 2 and 3 goals each and helped their side for a win on the weekend. So, performance players of the week, Mr. and Mrs. Salapak, about 20-odd years ago. Well done there. Willie B's, Barmy's Army. Let's have a look.
Well, starting in Premier, William Buck Premier with Hugh Vickers-Willis. Plays for the Uni Blues. And I'll tell you what, his job on Matty Handley on the weekend was tremendous. Matt kicked 2 goals and he had one little incident where he was bleeding. Probably would have kicked that one as well, but well done Hugh as well for bringing the claret out. But his defensive effort alongside Van der Pol and Hines, just fantastic. They're very creative out of half back and deep in the back line there at Uni Blues. And they smashed the Zavs on the weekend up there. And yeah, Hugh was very, very strong. So welcome to the Army.
Smaller ground at Toorak Park not helping the way Zavs want to play. And
That's
I think
correct,
there's an issue with a couple of clubs that have got the smaller grounds. And they, because the way amateur footballers play now, they are playing more and more like the AFL. They're fitter, so they're able to run. So that means there's more numbers at the contest, which means it's more crammed up. So that release hand pass back or kick out, they can't do it. So they're getting mowed down and tackled, and we're getting more congested football. It's a bit of an issue for amateur clubs, and I think it's one of the reasons why Old Trinity is so strong on such a big ground, because they're used to playing on that bigger ground each week, and when you get other clubs going there, they're just not used to having that extra space.
Absolutely. And we'll go through to Premier C here. I've been holding off on doing this, but Jack Delbridge deserves a shout out. His form this season has been fantastic. He was runner-up in the Division 1 League medal last year, the best and fairest in a premiership season at Kew. And his job against Marsland, he's a clearance machine. He's probably the biggest bloke out there. And welcome to the Army, Jack. It's good to have you. Now, down in Division 1, this one as well I've been avoiding for a while, but George Burberry. He's an AFL footballer, kicked 6 on the weekend for Old Geelong. He has elite aerobic capacity, which you'd expect from a former AFL player. But he's really he's guided Old Geelong to 4 and 3, which they'd be disappointed about. I think Old Geelong have premiership aspirations. But I tell you what, if they keep winning games, George Burberry is going to be a big part of that.
Is he playing through the midfield?
Midfield and up forward. You know, so he's kicked 6, but he also can go through. I think he's having those little bursts through the midfield as well. So
He'd love the expanses of Como Park too.
that's right. That is a big ground there, isn't it?
That is a big ground, Como Park. It's like 2 centre-half forwards. Both the cricket wickets in the middle of them. That's all we've got time for on the Tragics. We look forward to seeing what jumper will you pedal out next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew.
Nick, always a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Nice to see your wardrobe extends beyond the polo. And Brenton, thank you.
Always a pleasure, Andrew. Always a pleasure.
Puffer jacket as well.
Yeah.
Well, fashion critiques as well as Tragics of the VAFA. We'll see you next week.